Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G-Bear Homesteading the Desert. It is the 7th day of December, Pearl Harbor Day, 2018, and I just got back from a trip down to the OC where I attended a annual Christmas party I go to, and had a good time there. My friend Bob Duff and everybody else that I met there that I've known for years, and it was a very enjoyable thing. But we got a little rain yesterday, and I mean a little rain. You can see the ground here is completely soaked, really completely soaked, and you can see my tire tracks from where I just came in with the van, and I just washed most of the mud off the side of it because I picked up quite a bit on the way in. The road coming in over there must have been a riverbed because it's got a lot of ruts and runoff in it. And down here where my gray water tank is supposed to go, you can see I've gathered a little bit of water in the bottom of the hole there. So you can see how this ground holds water for quite a while, and that's why it was so hard digging. And it's going to be pretty soaked now, so once the weather changes, I'll be able to get down in there with my bucket and take a few more scoops out and get this thing into place so I can get the container in there and get that closed off. Now, it doesn't look like the rain is quite over yet, because I'm looking over there and I'm seeing rain, so, and we could still get some more. And right now I'm feeling a little bit of drizzle on me. That's telling me that it's probably going to rain one more time. Now, nothing wrong inside the cabin. Everything held good, but some little critter took a shelter underneath my porch. So, looking at the size of that hole, I would say it was probably a pocket mouse. And I brought out my my little portable generator, and it hasn't run for a year, so I made sure I got it fired over and tested it and made sure it worked good, just in case we have one of those winters where I go a week without sun or wind. And what I use in that, it's a 50-to-1 two-stroke. So I use this stuff, the engineered fuel and oil. And the nice thing about this is it's ethanol free, and it can sit for long periods of time in your engine without gumming up and all of that stuff. And ethanol eats through a lot of the parts, so I'm glad that I use that stuff. It's a little more expensive, but it's worth it. And that little two-stroke there on a tank of fuel, it runs 8 hours. And I fired it up and I connected it to the batteries and checked it, and it's definitely doing a good charge. And it's an AC-DC unit. It puts out 12 volts DC through one set of alligator clips that you just clip straight to the battery, but it also has a 1200 watt AC outlet on the side. So I plugged my battery charger into that, and I tied that onto the batteries too. So I was getting a double charge to the batteries all at the same time, and it kicked them up a couple of points, so good deal. All right, let's get to it here, and I'm going to show you what we got going. Rain barrels. Totally full, but not only full, overflowing. They are actually completely overflowed, and there's water in this pipe. And on those over there, the new ones I just put up, they filled so quickly and got heavy so quickly that the legs sunk in the ground, and my pipe separated at the top. These are totally full. I mean, overfull. There's water in the tops of them. Same thing in the back side. This one separated because it pressed down, and it's overfull. Water coming out of the top already. That one over there, totally full. So that's 4 times 60 gallons. That's 240 gallons of water just at the cabin itself that I've got for irrigation right now. But that's not all. Let's move around here. I have some buckets laid out here and there that also have an inch of rain in the bottom of them, or a little bit more, because let's go by the rain gauge here. And we got 1¼ inches in there. And that was just yesterday alone. So that was a pretty good downpour out here. And I can see water runoff in the stream beds. I'll take you over there in a second. The tarp did hold up. And the 6-gallon bucket I got, over full. It was running out the other side of it and going onto the ground. I can see the water runoff there. So I got plenty of rainwater for right now. Also, I brought 3 20-gallon barrels with me down to the OC, and my friend Vince, whose house I stay at, lets me fill them up at his garden hose. So I filled 3 of those up. So I brought another 60 gallons back there. All right. I'm going to take a couple of these barrels down to the rain barrel area, and I'm going to use my transfer pump to transfer water out of the rain barrels and into storage barrels right beside them that I can always pump back into them whenever I need to. What that does is it empties my rain barrels, so the next rain, which is due Tuesday or Wednesday, I can pick up more rain in my rain barrels. And I get all my storage barrels filled. I might have to go buy a couple more down the road. By the way, speaking of down the road, when I was coming back today, I was coming up through the Cajon Pass, and there was one of those freeway signs lit up, and it said, Highway 395 flooded. Use Route 66. So I didn't get off the freeway. I kept on going. I went all the way down to D Street in Victorville, and then took the back roads in. So I didn't hit any flooding, but I can see where they had flooded signs on the side of Route 66 too. So it came down pretty good out here. All right, here's one of the stream beds, and you can see the black sand here. So there was water flow in the stream bed. And there's the other stream bed over there. Let's move over to that and take a quick look at it. And this one had a pretty good water flow coming through it. You can see how it's gullied out in the corners here. And I'm going to come over here and do a little bit of gold panning when the weather gets a little bit better and see if anything came up, because I suspect where all of that white rock up there is, that is all quartz. And even though I heard that they're only mining tungsten up there, I think they're mining gold. So there might be some tailings that got washed down the stream, because this all comes from up that way. And you can see the stream here really had some good flow in it. And there's lots of black sand there. So that'll be interesting. But what's even more interesting, let's keep on moving down the road here. Watching the stream bed, you see all the black sand and you see the good runoff on it. Well, look at my pond. Guess what I got? I got a pond. I got water in my pond. Yes, sir. But you can see how high it had come up. Actually come up, and how much it's gone down already. But the clay, you can see it's baking in down there. When the clay actually gets a few coats in there, it'll hold water a little bit longer. It's not going to hold water for a whole year at this depth, because the center of that is almost 4 foot deep. Right now, I'd say it's 3 feet, because you can see the water line on the back bank there of how it was a foot up higher, and it's gone down a foot already. And it broke through the dam right there. So you could see how much water pressure was in here and how well the water flow was. So I'm going to be definitely digging out the back part right there. And I'm going to move this whole dam down to that next dam down there. And I'm also going to be digging, I want to leave this as an island in the center of the whole thing. So I'm going to be digging around this way, around the island. And I'll put some more dirt on the island there to stabilize it. But look at the runoff here and the erosion. And look at the black sand, and look at the deposits there. Now that's going to be interesting to dig through that stuff. I can't wait. I'm gonna dig out my gold pan out of the container. I think I know it's in container number 2, and I think it's on the right hand side all the way in the back. But look at how the clay's holding this water over here also. And you can see where it got so full here. All of this was full too. And I got erosion over here. And it ran out through this this section pretty heavily to be able to erode a foot of this bank away. So it was there was quite a bit of water here. And that little pond over there dried up, it just soaking into the ground, but it also broke through the dam right there and came through and joined into this. And man, the black sand in there, that whole path is pretty solid black going all the way down. 660 feet of stream bed that I can do a little bit of gold prospecting in when my major work gets done. But also, some of the people I did a little bit of the FTEfty work for down while I was down there, talking about putting DG on their front lawn, and I told them I've dealt with that stuff. It sticks to your shoes when it gets wet. And if you don't believe me, take a look. I'm already a 1/4 inch taller just from this little walk that I did right now to show you around as what happened here while I was away for one day. And looks like we might get a little bit more tonight, so that'll be okay. Lastly, just before I went down to the OC that night, I was talking to the people who I was going to do some work for, and I wanted to make it a profitable trip as much as a fun trip. And they also as soon as I hung up from there, I walked over to wash my hands and get my dinner ready, and all of a sudden I heard my wall heater just go foomph, and it flamed out. I went, what in the heck was that? So I checked it, and I couldn't get it to relight. And I said, what's going on here? Am I out of fuel? I just put a brand new 100-pound propane tank on. It can't be out of fuel. So I tried the stove, and the stove worked. And I said, well, something's going on here. So got my work clothes together and grabbed some tools out of the van, and I took the wall heater off the wall and pulled it apart. And what I found was a bunch of desert dirt and dust had built up around one of the sensors inside the unit. And then from shipping, when they shipped it to me, the inside mounting bracket that holds the flaming part, the heat transfer part of the unit and the pilot light was bent, so it was actually putting flame behind the firewall piece that was inside of there, and that's why it would kick on and off so often. So I straightened it all out, put it back together again, and it fired right off, and it runs a heck of a lot better now. And I noticed that when it kicks on, it runs until it brings it up to temperature, and then it kicks off. It doesn't turn on and off, on and off, on and off like it used to do. So that's a good thing. And I'm glad I finally got that fixed. And it was just one of those things where I would have never known it until it actually broke down. But you got to be ready for that stuff. And I have a small propane heater that's a tank mount here. That's a 10,000 BTU. If it ever got to an emergency situation where it was freezing out and I had to heat the cabin, I could grab that out of this container real quick, bring it inside, fire it off, and warm things up. All right, just remember, when you're homesteading, got to be prepared for everything. And I try to be that way. And I'm very handy at fixing things. And I always say, one of my favorite sayings is, if I can't fix it, it's just not broken. That's all. Don't forget, if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up down there and let me know that you like them, and leave a comment. I love to talk and chat with people through the comment section. I'm sorry a couple of people contacted me while I was at the Christmas party and doing some FT, and I didn't get any chance to contact them back. Letty, I got some dog food for your dogs. So I will text John and have him stop by on his way home from work and pick up the dog food I've got. Thanks to Kay down in the OC. I want to make sure your dogs don't starve. G-Bear signing off.